readers, it's Miss Pebworth. This week we are reading our Cinderella stories from all around the world. So we're reading a lot of different versions of the Cinderella story. This is Yeh-Shen. It's from our Journeys reading book. So go get your Journeys reading book and bring it out and turn it to page 457. 457 and our story is Yeh-Shen. It's a Cinderella story that kind of follows the same pattern as all Cinderella stories. And it takes place in China, so it's a Cinderella story from China. Yeh-Shen. Yeh-Shen. Yeh-Shen was a girl who grew up in China a long, long time ago. Her mother and her father died, so she lived with her mean stepmother, Jin, and her stepsister, Junli. They lived in a cave. Every time Jin looked at Yeh-Shen, she became angry. Yeh-Shen was gentler and kinder than Jin's own daughter, Junli. Yeh-Shen was also a hard worker. Junli was spoiled and lazy. Jin gave Yeh-Shen only rags to wear. She gave her a long list of chores to do. When Yeh-Shen finished one task, Jin added 3 more to the list. Over here. Yeh-Shen was always busy working. She did not have a chance to make friends, but she did have one very special friend. This friend had golden eyes and glimmering scales and a big, beautiful tail. It was a fish that lived in a pond. Every day, Yeh-Shen stopped by the pond and shared some crumbs with the fish. And every day, the fish popped up to greet its friend. Yeh-Shen's stepmother saw this and became furious. She didn't want Yeh-Shen to have any friends, not even a fish. One day, Jin caught the fish and cooked it for dinner. Oh my gosh, that's so mean. Page 460. Yeh-Shen cried when she saw her friend served for dinner. She ran out of the cave and sat by the pond. "What's the matter?" an old man asked her. Yeh-Shen told him about her friend, the fish. And then she told him what her stepmother had done. "Listen carefully to me," said the old man. "The bones of that fish hold special powers. Take the bones and bury them in 4 pots. Put 1 pot in each corner of your bed. Whenever you need help, tell the bones what you need. They will make your every wish come true." Yeh-Shen followed the old man's directions. I'm over here. When she got back to the cave, she buried the bones in the pots. Then she put the 4 pots by the corners of her bed. She did not have anything to ask for yet, but she felt content knowing that her friend was close by. A few weeks later, the spring festival arrived. At the festival, young men and women could meet. They hoped to fall in love and marry. Jin didn't want to ruin Junli's chances of finding a husband, so she ordered Yeh-Shen to stay home and clean. And then she and Junli went to the festival. Here's the pictures of it. Yeh-Shen did not want to stay home and clean. For the first time since she buried the bones, she had a wish. "I wish I had beautiful clothes," she said to the bones. "I wish I could go to the festival. I wish I could be like all the other girls." As soon as Yeh-Shen said these words, something amazing happened. She was covered in the finest clothes from head to toe. Her old worn shoes were replaced by a pair of slippers made from silk. Yeh-Shen was overjoyed and grateful from the gifts from her friend. She ran off happily to the festival. Everyone at the festival stopped to stare. Look at her, here she is. She's so pretty. Everyone at the festival stopped to stare at Yeh-Shen as she walked in. Who is this beautiful girl in the magnificent clothes? Yeh-Shen had a wonderful time at the festival, but she was worried that her stepmother would notice her. She decided to hurry home, but she ran off so fast that one of her silk slippers fell off. It lay in the middle of the road. It was the only sign that Yeh-Shen had visited the festival. At home, Yeh-Shen stuffed her new clothes into the pots. She concealed her 1 silk slipper too. She changed her rags and she waited for her stepmother and stepsister to return. Page 464. Meanwhile, a traveler found the silk slipper on the road. He knew it was valuable, so he gave it to the king. The king was curious to find the owner of the slipper, so he had his men build a hut. Anyone could come to this hut to try on the silk slipper. Yeh-Shen heard about the hut. She wanted her slipper back, so she sneaked out of the cave one night and ran quietly to the hut. As she crept towards the slipper, the king's men grabbed her. The king took one look at Yeh-Shen's rags and thought that she was a thief. Yeh-Shen looked up at the king. We're on this page now. Yeh-Shen looked up at the king. Her eyes were filled with tears. The king saw how gentle and kind she was. He listened to her words. "Please, I will show you the other slipper," Yeh-Shen whispered to the king. Yeh-Shen led the king to her home. She put on the matching silk slipper on her fine clothes, and the king knew then that he wanted to marry her. However, he was angry at how Jin and Junli had treated Yeh-Shen. He told them to never come to the castle, so they stayed in their cave for the rest of their lives. And Yeh-Shen lived happily ever after with the king. So that is a very traditional Cinderella story. It takes place in China. It's a Chinese Cinderella story, but it has the girl who lives with a stepmother and stepsisters who are mean. She does all the work. She dresses in rags. She wants to go to a big party. This time it's the festival. And magically she gets nice clothes and all dressed up. And on the way home she loses a shoe and finds that shoe with the king, or in this case it was the king, sometimes it's a prince, and marries him and lives happily ever after. So that's a traditional storyline of Cinderella story. This one was from China and it was called Yeh-Shen. So bye class.